On the 10th of February, a circular was released by the Central Bank of Nigeria, and it was received by Nigerians with mixed feelings. I'm just here to speak on the circular and to ensure you are aware of what this circular means for you. The summary is that ATM withdrawal charges have now been reviewed. Remember, before, prior to February 10, prior to this circular, ATM charges were, there was no charge if you use your bank's ATM. So you use a Zenith Bank and you withdraw from a Zenith Bank ATM, there's no charge. And if you use another bank's ATM, after the third time in a month, you get charged 35 naira. That was what was obtainable before February 10. But now on this circular, what changes? If you continue to use your bank for withdrawals, no charge also. So if you go to your Zenith Bank ATM, you're a Zenith Bank customer, use your Zenith Bank, there's no charge. Still same, maintaining status quo. But where it becomes a bit funny is when you now use another bank's ATM. So let's still take the example of Zenith Bank. You're a Zenith Bank customer, and for some reasons you're unable to use a Zenith Bank ATM, but there's a First Bank ATM available to you. Once you use that First Bank's ATM, you would now get charged for every 20,000 naira transaction. So I think the clarification is per 20,000 naira transaction. So, and this is dependent on whether the ATM of the other bank you use is either on site or off site. On site means that an ATM that is in a bank premises or in a bank's building. Off site means that an ATM that is not in the bank premises or not within the bank building. So when you see an ATM in ShopRite, for example, the bank does not necessarily have an office in ShopRite, but just has an off-site ATM machine in ShopRite. So that's what we mean by off-site. So if you withdraw from another bank on-site, maintain Zenith, and let's say you use a UBA ATM, you get charged 100 naira per 20,000 naira. So meaning that if you withdraw 10,000 naira, you're going to be charged 100 naira. If you withdraw up to 20,000 naira, you're going to be charged 100 naira. If you withdraw 40,000 naira, or you go above the first 20,000 naira, you're going to be charged 200. For each 20,000 naira band, you're going to be charged 100 naira for your withdrawal. So if you are withdrawing 100,000 naira with an on-site ATM of another bank, which you don't use, you're going to be charged 100 times what? Times 5. You're going to be charged 500 for that withdrawal. That's it. But if you then decide to use an off-site ATM machine of another bank, maintain the same example, Zenith, you are using an ATM machine of, I'm saying ATM machines, actually ATM is already has machine. So yeah, so you are using Zenith and you're using an ATM of UBA. But that ATM is off-site. That ATM is maybe in ShopRite or in a shopping mall. You are going to pay 100 naira plus a cap of 500 for each 20,000 you withdraw from that ATM. So that ATM is capped, is based on the discretion of the bank, but the cap is 500 plus 100 naira. So a maximum of 600 naira per 20,000. So if, for example, that other bank caps his own at that 500, which is the cap, and says 500 plus 100 naira, the charge you'll be incurring on withdrawing 20,000 naira is going to be 20,600 based on the cap. So that, I hope that is clear. There's using your own bank, there's using another bank on site, there's using another bank off site, and that will determine what kind of charge you'll be charged. For international withdrawals, is the cost recovery. The exact charge by the acquirer is what you'll be charged. So now, what does this mean for you? It simply means your cost of withdrawals obviously has increased. Your cost of procuring cash has increased. If you don't have time to enter a banking or physically, your cost of procuring cash has increased. And for also POS, how does this affect POS? It does not affect POS directly, but it will affect the POS vendors indirectly, in the sense that There are some POS that actually augment their cash needs by withdrawing bulk amounts from ATMs. So if there's an increase in the cost of which they get cash, obviously they're going to pass that increase to the customers. So for example, in different places, there are places where 5,000 naira, to withdraw 5,000 naira from a POS vendor, it's 100 naira, there's some places it's 200. Those prices may need to be reviewed. And that is number one impact. Number two impact is that, people, it will now be wiser to bank with a bank that has several ATM locations, and not only several ATM locations, because some banks have 100 ATM locations, and out of those 100, 90 is unable to dispense, 10 is out of service. So you need to be able to bank with a reliable bank that has a very large footprint of ATMs and also has a reliable service, such that you won't even have to start using other banks, whether on-site or off-site. You won't incur those charges. But if you are using a bank that has limited ATM footprints, you end up using on-site and off-site and incurring these charges for your withdrawals. So this is a summary of what it means for you. Comment if you have any thoughts on this new circular. Let me know in the comments. I remain Kayode Nice.